Alright, what is up YouTube? Today I wanted to make an informative video. I didn't plan on making it, but I was going to make a helpful video. Alright, so the video today that I'm going to be making is explaining what swim bladder disorder is and a little bit of advice on how to cure it or treat fish with swim bladder disorder. Alright, so right here I have a clown knife fish, and originally I had him in a 30-gallon grow-out tank upstairs just because he was too small to put with my other fish. So I bought a pair of clown knives. I got a good deal on them at a pet store, so I had two. The other one's doing very well. He's eating very well. He looks really healthy. He's acting like a normal clown knife. But this guy was kind of just staying at the surface, and he wasn't really eating at all. He was eating a little bit, but definitely not as much as he should. I fed him a couple times a day to try to get him to eat. He wouldn't, and he's even a little bit chewed up. Some of the other fish were kind of picking on him. So I decided that he was definitely going to die if I didn't do something. So I set up a little 5-gallon tank right here today. I got a little heater on it. I turned the filter off. And you can see that he's just kind of laying at the top, and he's sort of laying on his side. See, he's having difficulty swimming. It's especially with the filter on, it was really hard for him, and he wasn't eating, so I knew something's definitely wrong. And based on previous experience and some of my knowledge, I figured out that he has swim bladder disorder. Now, there's different things you need to know about swim bladder disorder. First of all fish have swim bladders, and that controls their buoyancy in the water. And when fish have a lot of air in their swim bladder, that's when they want to stay near the top of the water, and they release the air, and that's how they can go down in the water. And with the water off, this is definitely not how a clown knife should be acting. Ignore the stuff in the background. By the way, this is my bar in my basement. This isn't my usual place. This is just an emergency tank setup, and there's a bunch of junk down here. We're moving stuff. But yeah, he definitely should not be at the top like that with his body bent. So I figured out that he definitely has a problem with his swim bladder. Now, he can either have air trapped in there, and that's why he's floating, and that's why he's having such difficulty moving in the water. Or he could have swim bladder disorder, which is a disease. Or yeah, he could have swim bladder disease. And that's usually not curable, and very difficult to cure, and usually results in the fish not being able to control its buoyancy and not eating and dying. So hopefully he just has a little air trapped in there and I can get it out. But if he does have swim bladder disease, he's probably going to die without expert medical care. It's pretty much impossible to save him even with that. But I just want to give some quick remedies. About 90% of the time, swim bladder disorder occurs in fancy goldfish, which had happened to my Blackmore before. And the myth is that you can give your fish peas, and that kind of relieves some of the constipation and clears out the intestines of the fish, and that can also release some air, and that can help the fish, which is true. But that's not always the case. That doesn't always help. So the next thing you can do is Epsom salt. That's supposed to relieve the fish, and that can also help the fish if it's constipated, and that can help clear out some of the air that may be inside the fish. Only use the peas with goldfish, because other fish aren't going to eat peas. For example, my clown knife, he's not going to eat peas. And usually when swim bladder occurs, it occurs in goldfish. So if you do have goldfish, try to give them peas, and hopefully that can help it. If they just have a little air trapped in there, hopefully that can help get the air out. If not, if you have a fish that isn't a goldfish, I would recommend just doing what I do, which is it's actually a tablespoon for every 10 gallons. So since this is only a 5-gallon tank, I'm only going to use half a tablespoon. But, you know, say you have a 30-gallon tank, you're going to use 3 tablespoons. So, and usually it's best to place the fish by itself, so you can use less salt or less medicine if you'd like to use medicine. There is medicine out there, which is usually for swim bladder disease. If you have a nice fish and the salt isn't working, if you've added salt and it's been a couple days and you don't see an improvement, it's usually recommended that you would try to buy some medicine. If you go to a pet store, or you can look online, there's different products you can buy. I don't have any, but there's certain things you can do that are supposed to help. Also, it's recommended that you don't feed your fish, because it's usually not going to eat, and I've just heard it's not good to feed your fish. So while your fish is, I guess, while you're treating it with medicine, don't feed it for a couple days. So yeah, that's about all the advice I can give you. That's how I cured my goldfish. I gave him peas, and eventually it just kind of fixed itself. And I also treated him with salt, and it's not noticeable anymore. So I think that fixed the problem, and it could be reoccurring too. If it happens in a fish, it could happen again. The most common, like I said, it usually occurs in fancy goldfish, just because of the way their bodies are shaped. And the reason it usually happens is because people usually feed their goldfish food on top, and when the fish go up and they eat the food, they accidentally get air trapped in their bladder when they're gulping at the top of the tank. So if you're feeding fancy goldfish, I recommend that you use sinking food, which is what I use for my fancy goldfish upstairs. So it's best to use sinking food for all goldfish, really. But, yeah, peas and Epsom salt. And remember, 1 tablespoon per 10 gallons. And if that's not working, you can go to medication, fish medicine. You can get it from your fish store or online. And other than that, that's about all you can do. And sometimes it's not always curable. Sometimes swim bladder disease, if it's been left uncured for a while, it can get too bad, and sometimes the fish will just starve to death or tire itself out. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope that my video helped. Maybe learn something new, and hopefully I can cure my clown knife. And thanks for watching, and check out my other videos.